Nurgle got some fairly significant buffs in the most recent 3.0 update. Of course, all their mortal units had their speed debuff removed. Mark of Nurgle no longer reduces speed, but today I'm up against my patron, Rider of Rohan. Of course, the legendary Tyrion main has brought Tyrion himself here. He's got some Lyrian Reaver archers and a nice staunch line of spears with some Lothern Sea Guards. He's also got Talons of Torquelada and two Sisters of Avalorn, including the Regiment of Renown, which will be an insane amount of fire armor-piercing DPS that can definitely burst down targets very quickly, especially with the flame synergy from the Talons of Torquelada. They, of course, have that flammable debuff that's very in vogue because of Chaos Dwarfs. But, yeah, has been present on a number of units beforehand. Anyway, that's pretty much it for the High Elves. For myself, I've gone Kugath plus Wide. We've got lots of Marauders of Nurgle here with some Plague Toads who picked up an AP buff. It's still not totally great AP. It's about a 50-50 split, more or less, with +7 bonus versus infantry. Also got a Cultist of Nurgle here, some Furies up in the sky, some Hounds out on the flanks, and that's pretty much it. We're going to get things rolling right away, and obviously Kugath is incredibly hard to kill, almost impossible to kill in melee, but at range with these high DPS archers that are extremely accurate. Also, we're going to reduce his healing with their flaming attacks in the case of the Sisters of Avalorn here and the Talons. But yeah, it will be very dangerous, so because of that, I'm going to have to just keep my forces out, you know, keep him out of range, I should say, until my mobile forces can move in, try and occupy some of this space. But we're going to get a charge going here. Forsaken in particular, they're a pretty fast unit to begin with. Removing their speed debuff certainly helps them fairly significantly, and they should be a really great unit here. The Toads, on the other hand, are going to have a hard time even against the low-tier Spearmen. I say low tier. They're 500 cost Spearmen of the High Elves, and you can see here they're mostly ineffective. I'm trying to punch through and get into the second level here to start to occupy some of the Sisters of Avalorn. Meanwhile, Rider of Rohan did kind of throw Tyrion here, I'll be honest. He kind of YOLO'd Tyrion in here, I think, unintentionally, into Kugath, who then bogs him down with some Hounds, is easily going to defeat him, but I'm going to be honest, I don't know if he really needs Tyrion to win here 100%. As long as Rider of Rohan can protect his archers, they should be able to carry the game for him. And I'm definitely regretting right off the bat not teching into more Forsaken rather than the Toads. The Forsaken don't cost very much more. They're only 200 points more. And they're seeming to be much more effective than the Toads so far. They've already collapsed the Lothern Sea Guard here, moving on to a second. So yeah, they actually just completely shattered that Lothern Sea Guard, so very impressive stuff. Meanwhile, the Toads are just kind of ineffectively planking the spears here, and I can't even really pull through. I've tried a couple times to issue them an order to just pull through the spears and see if I could still get on these archers in the back, but so far we have not been able to do so, and Rider Rohan's been doing a really good job of focusing down all of the various units of Toads with his archers. Right now, their fire is kind of a little bit spread out, trying to finish off the Forsaken, which is very smart there. Two mages for the High Elves also should get some credit as well. Gonna unleash some AoE magics now, though. Start to move Kugath into range here. And I did win that light cavalry fight. Didn't really highlight that at all, but the Hounds and the Furies were able to pretty decisively defeat all of those Illyrian Reaver archers. That said, I'm gonna forget about these two Furies who are way out on the edge of the map here, which, again, is potentially a critical error. We'll see. I definitely could use them to try and bog down the Sisters of Avalorn when the time comes. Right now, Kugath is still not necessarily getting focused down. Probably making a mistake bringing him this close even still, considering I haven't really been able to occupy the archers, but I'm really just trying to get those magic casts there. That, what is that? Stream of Corruption. Try and just burst down, see if we can do some damage to the Sisters of Avalorn. But despite the HP damage they've taken, they haven't actually lost many models at all. All three of these units are more or less still online. I mean, the Talons have taken some damage, but they're still here enough to where they can contribute this flammable effect. And of course, this Lure of Light here does have a net, so Kugath is going to get netted and absolutely blasted in the face by magical flaming elven arrows. Of course, we go back to the magic damage again of the Sisters specifically. They're going to get that benefit bypassing the physical resistance of Kugath and just doing way more damage to him straight up. Lothar and Seaguard also contributing some extra arrows in here as well. And my Marauders were finally able to get through and get a little bit of miss micro here and not having the units in the right place at the right time. Be able to pressure. The Furies were finally coming to the rescue, but it's a little bit late. Kugath has taken some very significant damage now. And I actually didn't take the heal. I took instead Rancid Visitations, which did help me kill Tyrion pretty easily, I'll be honest. But now I don't have any way to heal him directly. I'll have to rely on the army ability, Fecundity, in order to heal. him. You can see that is active here, but since he's taking flaming damage, it is reducing the amount that healing is doing by half. And also, it's just not an insane amount of healing in and of itself. You really need to layer it on with other heals in order for it to be totally effective. So Kugath, not long for this world. And with him down, I'm not sure I can finish this off. I mean, my Marauder Infantry should do a decent job in trading with most of the stuff here. But if we take a look at the Sisters of Avalorn up close, I could talk about the fact they have very high melee defense, which I'll show very shortly. But I just wanted to highlight them kind of surrounded by the moldy Marauders here. The Everqueen's Court Guard's going to try and reposition there, just kind of tactically withdraw, but Kugath, yeah, went down right when I panned the camera away, of course, but it is what it is. Also, 2v1, the Cultist is, I mean, I think his stats are maybe just worse overall. 50-35, 38-40, yeah, it's pretty close. I mean, he has better weapon strength, definitely. That martial prowess on those high elven mages means they can just beat him up, no problem. Take out the leadership. Furies also, again, their attack and charge is pretty good. On the charge, they can definitely get some damage done, but that 60 melee defense of the Everqueen's Court Guards, it's just so good, you know, with that martial prowess active. And yeah, this other unit here of the Sisters of Avalorn, obviously, they have dropped theirs, but still 40 melee defense is pretty good. And you know, the Marauders only 29 melee attack, even though they got the speed buffed. Mark of Nurgle does still reduce melee attack while increasing melee defense and HP and giving poison. It's definitely a worthwhile trade-off, but in a specific circumstance like this, when you're fighting a faction that has very high melee defense in general, and especially on these elite units, the Marauders are just going to struggle to really do anything in this fight. To be honest, they're at minimum hit chance, I think, or at least pretty close. But anyway, yeah, the net also going to go down here and stop up this one unit of Marauders. What's over here that they're shooting at? This poor unit of Hounds trying to chase off the Talons, but just eats a volley there. One thing also that's really good about Sisters of Avalorn that you may not think about is their reaction time. You saw there how quickly they were able to actually get a volley off. They're probably one of the fastest reacting missile units in the game, one of the most responsive. And they're a missile unit that can actually, feels like, will respond to orders very quickly, and see even a few of them fighting in combat here. But, yeah, very cool showing from the Sisters of Avalorn. Are their weapons actually disappearing? Yeah, I think that's a nice little bug right there that needs to be addressed, but still, very cool unit. Oh, yes. And with that, that's pretty much going to be it. We're very quickly facing army losses as the Marauders just all rout here, and it's just the ugly Cultist who immediately gets routed also. So credit to Rider Rohan there withstanding my assault. Again, I feel my composition was not ideal, and definitely the Toads, they're good still, and I might take, I don't know. To be honest, I could cut one Marauder here and upgrade two of them to Forsaken, maybe still keep one just for the mass. So I'm not completely massless. Would be a little bit vulnerable to cavalry, potentially, like a cavalry counter rush, but Kugath can kill an infinite amount of cavalry pretty much, so I'm not really worried about that, as long as I can trade well enough, you know, to be able to kill archers. I guess archers and cavalry would really give this build some problems now that I think about it, but anyway, that's perhaps a story for another time. The Forsaken definitely perform well, and it's one of the reasons why I'd say I would 100% recommend them over Toads here. The Furies also paid for themselves. I can't really be too mad. One did get killed in that engagement, but we were able to trade out all three of these Illyrian Reavers, which was awesome. Then just my own micro failed in bringing them back at the right time. Moldy Marauders, too, are just very good overall. Probably the best Marauder right now, so I would say. with the nerf to Slanesh Marauders and the buff to these guys, they're probably the best. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and call them the best of the Monogod Marauders. The Moldy Marauders definitely offer quite a bit. They're a nice kind of mainline meat shield infantry here. For Rado Rohan's side, yeah, Tyrion getting killed didn't actually matter at the end of the day. Talons of Torquelada and the Sisters of Avalorn especially carrying some insane value. Lothern Seaguard also contribute quite nicely. The Spearmen hold the line well enough against the Toads and such that it's actually pretty good. And that's another reason why, again, the Toads maybe aren't great here. Because even if you do get into the second level, often going to find Lothern Seaguard, who will also just kill the Toads in melee, so yeah. Hindsight 2020, definitely take the Forsaken instead. But anyway, that's it for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.